So in actual fact, the talk is affective data visualization, which is not a typo, understanding the pandemic with art and Minecraft. And affective, but what I mean by that is data visualization that can provoke an emotional response. And in provoking an emotional response, perhaps change attitudes, perhaps through changing attitudes, change behaviors. What I'm going to sort of demonstrate to you is this art project that I have been doing since March, I think, about the pandemic, because it was such a big deal, and yet it was really hard for me to understand just how big of a big deal it was. I'm a person who, in my life, I try and always be the, no, everybody just stay calm kind of person. Or rather, it's not that I try and do that, it's I have to do that. That's just who I am. I don't know. This is the way in which I am broken. Such is life. But everyone just stay calm wasn't necessarily the right response in our current circumstance, right? So data is great, but also numbers are hard to really understand in the abstract. They are just an abstraction, and numbers, even good numbers, even numbers that are provided in a really useful format, and this is the numbers that I rely on heavily, is this daily and now weekly situation reports from the World Health Organization. These reports were very useful for understanding some of what was going on. They provide great context. You know, I really appreciate all the work that went into these. But I was struggling, even with this good data, to understand, like, what is the pandemic? How big of a deal is this pandemic? And so I decided to start trying to use Minecraft to get a better understanding of that. So this is actually version 2 of this project. I started off not correctly predicting the scale. So in this version, version 2, what I'm going to show you is a series of walls in Minecraft, in which each block in a wall, it represents around 200 cases. And so this is my way of visualizing COVID in Minecraft to understand how the pandemic works, what it looks like, right? So here we are, and this is day 1. This was January 21st. This is the situation report 1. That means this is the day that, you know, the World Health Organization says, oh, I think we might be having a pandemic. And then from there, they create daily situation reports. So that's what the number at the top is. So that's day 1, 282 cases, 4 countries, but most of the cases are in China. That's what the red wool is. And then from there, let's just keep going, right? So I keep going, keep going, keep going. As we go, you know, it takes a while before any other countries actually rise to the level of having 200 cases. But every time a country does rise to the level of having 200 cases, so here's the first one after China, that's the Republic of Korea, they get assigned a specific block, and then that's their block from then on, right? So away we go. We keep going and going and going and going. Oh, here we go. This is when Italy gets assigned a block. This is, let's find out. This is Situation Report 37 from February 26th. All right, so then we'll keep going, and we just, every single wall is a daily situation report modeled with Minecraft blocks. So you can see that the world is getting more and more terrible, and so on. And I found that this was very helpful for me to better understand the numbers, also the story a little bit, you know, the way it progressed around the world, the way some countries, for instance, you can still see down there, Korea is still yellow and it's still only one line, whereas Italy, of course, takes off. Pink here is the United States, and on and on and on. So some countries manage to limit it quickly, others don't, and so on. The black line down at the bottom there is the number of deaths that happen per day. Once again, that one block equals 200 deaths. And away we go. Now, it actually gets so big that it's difficult to show you on this screen. So I'm instead going to, in the tool itself. So instead, I'm going to actually go back to my browser, and I'll show you here on this map This unfortunately reloaded while I was waiting to show you this thing. All right. And sorry. So here we are. This is the world in Minecraft. That's where I had gotten to. There's a better view of this. I apologize. I had this all set up, but then it reloaded while I was getting set up. Here we go. All right. So that's where we've gotten to at that point. And as you can see, it just gets bigger and bigger. It got so big that each wall was taking me about 4 hours to build. And for those asking, not by hand using World Edit, which is a plugin. This is on a friend's server. And so it was just taking too much. So I had to do every fifth one. This gets us to July only. So I'm still working on this. But it really gave me a much bigger sense of the scale of it. And then here's another thing. Well, okay, but how does that compare? So then that means here we've got a couple little models here. This is the daily situation report 45 from the SARS pandemic, which has many fewer cases. Here is the daily situation report 45 from the H1N1 pandemic. That's about 45,000 cases. The day 45 situation report for COVID, which is right there, is 95,000 cases. So it just is a way of being able to see and understand the scope of the thing, you know, to really help me to understand the numbers better and maybe hopefully to help other people understand the numbers better. And then the very last thing is also to understand, okay, but what does the deaths, yeah, that is a turtle, in fact. What do the deaths mean exactly? So let's go to COVID death, yes. All right, so talking about daily deaths, and people were like, oh, but doesn't it even compare with, for example, car crashes and things like that? And so here are average daily deaths. This data is mostly from 2017. That's the most recent I could get. So due to hepatitis, you know, that's 346 people daily die of hepatitis, for example, on average. And due to congenital heart disease, due to nutritional deficiencies and meningitis and so on. And all the way over here to the most common cause, which you'll see is quite a lot of deaths. Just a second. It's hard to even get up there. It's so many. This one I think is heart disease, sorry. Coronary heart disease, yes. So that's a lot of deaths. Where does COVID fit into this? And so the average deaths over the last 7 days for COVID, let's show you that. That would be down there. So it's not as many as coronary heart disease, but it's quite a few more than car deaths, car accident deaths worldwide. It's quite a few more than lung disease. It's more than other things. It's just below digestive diseases and above neonatal disorders. So just, it's a piece of context. That is undoubtedly more time than I was actually supposed to take, and I've not done this, and I don't even know what conclusions to draw from it at this point, but I just wanted to share it with you and sort of maybe provoke some conversation on the topic of how can we do data visualization in different ways. Thank you very, very much. And I should also just, take the last moment to acknowledge the support of my friend who runs the server, who is doing daily backups of the whole thing so that it doesn't get lost and that kind of thing. So please contact me if you want to know more. Thank you very, very much.